Welcome back everybody to my channel. So there's only 3 more weeks left of the school year. I don't even know what to think about that. But anyway, with that being said, it's that time of the year for me to do my annual brain dump. What's a brain dump? Stay tuned and I'll walk you through my process of how you can get rid of everything so that you can relax this summer. So the first thing I did is I grabbed my free printables, which you're going to be able to grab too, and I put it into my OneNote. So you can see them right here, my brain dump planning sheets. And I'm going to turn the camera around and walk you through what it looks like for me to give a brain dump. I'm dumping everything that worked this year, everything that didn't work this year, procedures that I wish I would have taught, just everything. And why do I do this? I do this because I want to be able to rest and relax for at least a little bit of my summer before I start preparing for the next school year. And in order for me to kind of rest and not think about anything anymore and lose sleep over, and I just have to purge, brain dump it, put it on a piece of paper, and everything will be okay. So I do it in OneNote, so which you know that I like OneNote, and I like it for many reasons because I do work for a district and I work for a big group of, I have a big team, so we're all able to access it. You can also do it on GoodNotes. If you're a GoodNote person, then you can also put these into GoodNote and use them that way as well. So the first thing I like to do on my brain dump for me personally is just reflect on all the really good things that happened this year. So for me, was it a challenging year? Absolutely. I think it was challenging for all of us. I don't think one of us can go, oh, hey, that was a great year and it was so much fun to figure it all out. Yeah, no. Did I make it work? Yes. Did I learn some skills along the way? Absolutely yes. So I do have some positives that I want to reflect on this past year. And the positives are the things that I want to continue to do this upcoming school year. Some of the things that I really had to hone in on some of my teaching skills in order to deliver things remotely, distance learning, with some of my kiddos in the classroom and some of my kiddos at home. So I really had to hone in on some teaching strategies that are here to stay. The kids loved them. I loved them. I saw growth, all of that. So that's going down in my brain dump and my ideas for those things that I can do for next year to continue on that good path that we have. Were there some things that didn't work for me this year? Absolutely. Am I going to have to rethink some of those things? Absolutely. And that's what the brain dump is all about. So let me turn the camera around so you can see inside of my brain dump and my process. Okay, so we're inside of my OneNote planner. And the first thing I want to show you is how are you going to get a PDF file into your OneNote planner? And I'm inside of my 2021-2022 OneNote teacher planner that you can upload to your Office 365 and use it from there. So, but I don't have this page or these pages in my OneNote that I want to add. So I want to put mine a year at a glance. And the reason why I want to put it in my year at a glance is this is where I'm going to start planning for next school year. And I want all of my notes of my must save, worked perfect, gonna do it again, my ones that I know I have to do it, but I need to refine it a little bit. And a lot of that is procedures that I teach the kids that might not have worked very well this year that I need to rethink, close my eyes and give it that time of how am I going to teach them this upcoming school year. So how can you get these free printable? You can either print them, you can upload them to your OneNote, or you can upload them to GoodNotes or whatever your digital planning device might be. So if you come down here, if you're a OneNote user like I am, you're going to add a page. And I'm just going to call this Brain Dump 2 just because I want to show you how you can put it in here. Brain Dump 2. Sorry, I had to reach above my head. And then right here, I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to pick the PDF file. So I'm going to pick my PDF. I'm going to choose where I have it saved in my computer, and I have it right here under Brain Dump, and I'm going to insert it. And sometimes it might take it a minute for it to process all the way through. So a lot of what I do when I do my planning, I'm doing on my computer, which I'm showing you right now, but I also use my iPad for a lot of the planning as well. So it's in here. So all of the pages are now in there. If you don't, you might not want the title page that you have. So that's okay. You click on it, then you right click it and you just cut it out of there because you don't want it. And then it gives you all of these pages that you can use now. That you can now write on, type on, whatever you want to do. With this, you can't really delete it because it's there. But what I like to do with it, I like to drag it clear over here, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, where I don't see it and it doesn't wreck the flow of my things. If you want to be able and not move this thing around, you can set it as the background to your document, your OneNote options. Let's see if it didn't show me there. So anyway, let's go back up here to my brain dump. So here is my brain dump that I've already started. So right here, you can see that what worked for me, arrival time was great, washing their hands, the process this year that we went through for washing their hands flowed really, really well. The kids were fantastic walking into my classroom. The minute they came into the classroom, they washed their hands. And that was after they put their belongings and stuff away. They were putting their belongings. All of that went really, really well. What didn't go well? Our daily sign-in. And I know that had a lot to do with how I had to arrange my classroom for the in-person children. But that's one I really need to think about. I really like them signing in every single day. I'm just going to have to kind of rethink what that might look like. And then we also did what we called busy baskets because we didn't want them going all the way around the room. So we provided them with their own personal baskets. It had materials in it that we tried to rotate so that they had things to do when it was time for them just kind of, unfortunately, to kind of sit at tables. I want to continue the busy baskets next year, but I don't want it to look like it did this year because I'm hoping we have a little bit more movability this upcoming school year than what we were this year. And then also we are needing to revamp when we're getting ready for NAP and what our processes are. I have some new staff members with me, so therefore I kind of need to work with them at what our expectations look like from one another during that. And once we figure it out, then we can teach the process we want with the kids. But right now, it's kind of needs a little bit of work. So I did that. I got a new smart board in my room, which really makes me now this upcoming school year. I'm just making it work this year. It is what it is. It's there. I can't do much about it. But it took away a lot of the things I like to do. I had the old kind of smart board. I was able to use dry eraser markers on it. If I wanted to put up some magnetic stories real quick for the kids to use, I could do that. I now have, it's not a smart board, it's one of those smart TVs. So I can't do magnets on it anymore. I can't let the kids come up and write on it during, work time, free choice time, where I'd let them come up and pretend to be teacher and they would write on my board when I didn't have to have it on. So I need to rethink those areas, and I already kind of have some ideas, and that's what I'm going to show you. I am in my OneNote. See, I'm in my OneNote, and I'm going to kind of go through, and I like to use my Apple Pencil, what we're going to do. So on one side of my board, I want to have a magnetic board. So this is going to be magnetic board, mag board. And I kind of think I might use oil pans for that. I'm not sure. And then on the other side, I'm going to put probably a whiteboard there where kids can use a whiteboard. So this would be whiteboard. And I don't know how wide all that stuff is. So that's kind of my thoughts right now. It's not set in stone, but at least I have a picture that I can just kind of let that rest and pick it up for when it comes. And I before I leave, I'll do measurements so I know what space we have there. So now on to my next part of my brain dump. When I brain dump, I really, really like to do, let me move it, text mode. I really like to do the procedures first. So I will go to my procedures page. Let's see if it brings up the procedures page for you guys. It doesn't look like it's going to. Well, it was writing on there for me. Why will it? Oh, let me go down like this. So here's my procedures. So I've already kind of started the procedures. I already said, okay, I need to, washing hands worked. How long do I need to teach that procedure? So at the beginning of the year, I spend my whole time. I don't think about anything else but their names, where their stuff goes, how we use our areas, how to use everything. I probably spend a good solid 2 weeks on teaching procedures. But I want to make sure I'm teaching every procedure that I know we need to do. And I'll keep writing on here. So here are some of my procedures that I did. And then I like to kind of think about it. How long do I need to teach this procedure over and over for it kind of to stick with the kids? Do I teach it for one day? Probably not. They're not going to remember, and I'm going to be repeating myself over and over, and it's not going to be set in stone. And then 2 months down the road, I'm going to be going, why don't they get this? Well, they don't get it because I didn't take the time to really make sure they understood it. So that's why I like to do 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, or a year. How long am I really going to have to stick with this procedure kind of over and over, reminding, modeling, and role playing with them in regards to each of these procedures. Because remember, your procedures in your classroom is the key thing for you to have a really good classroom management. If they don't know procedures and you haven't taught them, you're going to have mayhem on your hands, and nobody wants mayhem. So, just make sure you kind of are thinking about that. So I have my procedures and I mark down and I go through all of that and I decide, okay, lining up, that's probably going to take me a pretty good month that I need for them for lining up. So I'm going to grab a pencil that I want to use. It's not the same one that I used before, but that's okay. And I'm just going to go along and it's going to probably take me a full month. And I'm just going along and I'm writing on here, going to carpet. So what does that look like? There's several different times throughout my day that they have to go to carpet, but I'm going to make sure every time we go to carpet, it looks exactly the same way every single time. I don't want it to look any different. So if I'm saying, hey, boys and girls, we're gathering at the carpet, they know no matter what time of the day is, no matter what transition I've done, going to the carpet looks exactly the same every single time. So it's probably going to take, there again, probably a good another month for them to really think about that. So I make my list of all my procedures that I know I need to teach. How long do I think I need to teach them for? So that when I go to do my lesson planning, I know where I'm going to be teaching all these things. And do I need to teach it for the full week? Do I just need to teach it maybe 2 days this week, 2 days the following week? You really, when it comes to teaching procedures, you really kind of have to close your eyes, think about what you want it to look like, and then kind of teach that procedure. So you kind of have to visualize as you're doing this. Then the next thing that I like to do after that brain dump is I want to look at everything that we talked about this year. Maybe it was just a natural thing in regards to the seasons changing. that the kids talked about. Maybe it was just something that a child just all they wanted to do was talk about dinosaurs. So I write down all the children's interests that were this year and the things that we talked about that I know they really, really enjoyed. It might be something that I introduced to them because, you know, we do that throughout the year to kind of keep things moving. But what were some of the things that they really liked that I introduced to them? And what were some of the things that they just talked a whole lot about? And I'm writing all that down for themes and children's interests. Again, I'm doing this because this is going to be my outline to what my new year is going to look like. Because chances are, at this age group and the time frames and stuff, they're going to be interested next year in probably a lot of the same things. It's what they're seeing on TV, commercials, where they've traveled to, whatever it might be. Chances are they're interested in the same activities. So I do the same thing. I brain dump everything down that the kids talked about, that I introduced, and I do the same thing. Should I work on this for 1 week? Should it be a 2-week theme kind of thing? Is it maybe a whole month we're talking about? Say fall, they've noticed the leaves. Well, the leaves aren't going to fall and change in 1 day or 1 week. We might be needing to stick in with fall maybe for a whole month, and we might be sticking in some other things throughout the process. For our kids this year, we have squirrels on our campus, and that's always one that they are interested in. They see them on their way into school, they see them out on the playground, and they really want to know about squirrels. So there again, you're thinking about how long do you think it's going to take for you to really get into that deep play, deep investigation on the themes that you want to teach, and you're putting a time frame on that. And that's the end of my brain dump process. Okay, so now that I've started that process, it's going to take me a while to really do my brain dump. I still have 3 more weeks that I'm kind of watching and seeing, engaging, having those conversations with staff members too, to see what they felt went really well, what didn't go, that we're putting on here that will get us a clear picture and a clear roadmap to where we want to go for next school year and the planning process. But the great thing about this is it's there. I don't have to keep losing sleep over it, because I don't know about you. At the end of the year, I kind of am this hamster wheel of, oh, this worked. I really like this. Oh, don't forget. And I'll repeat it to myself over and over and over so I don't forget it because I haven't written it down on anything yet. But once I've written it down and it's on my brain dump pages and it's in my OneNote and I know I can find it in my iPad and I'm not searching around for a piece of paper or any of that stuff, it's all very handy for me to have in one place that I can keep going back to it and referring to it. And then I will use this brain dump to make my roadmap for next school year. But I want to take a couple weeks off once school's out to not think about that. And I'll start thinking about that, I hate to say it, probably July. But, you know, in order to have a smooth running next school year, it is what it is. And I am going to be road mapping out my process for that. So stay tuned, because this year I'm doing my roadmap a little bit different, and I'm going to be able to provide something for everybody that will hopefully help them with their roadmap process as well. So stay tuned. Thank you for joining me today. If you like what you see, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, so you don't miss any of the content coming out for the new school year and the end of the year of what's happening. So thank you for joining me, everybody.